So as we do approach the end of the year, wait for it, Pro-Years champion Simon Miller. I do not have this belt in the right position. I'm a terrible champ. Realize it's time to make some wild predictions. Now I say wild predictions. Some of these you may be like, it's not a wild prediction. Well, they're wild to me, okay? Maybe just a little bit more conservative when it comes to my predictions, but make sure you do yours in the comments below too, and please subscribe and just interact with the video as much as possible. I appreciate it. But now let's all calm down and see if we can figure out 2025 in WWE. And number 10, you may have seen my video the other day, so I do have to put this in here. The Rock wins the WWE title, or failing that, The Rock wins the Royal Rumble. I just think there's a big prize waiting for him. Don't know what that means. Sounds somewhat disgusting. Now, I have said it out loud. And of course, there are reports out there The Rock's not even going to be involved in WrestleMania 41. I just don't think that's true. I just don't. And if I'm wrong, I have egg on my face, but that's fine. It's got protein in it, and I can lick my lips. But just with everything that we did this year, and given that there is still so long to go, and The Rock turned up at Bad Blood, I just find it bizarre that he wouldn't be there. It wouldn't make any sense. It would be totally crazy. I understand he has to get into shape, and maybe that's why the triple threat match has kind of snuck out there as a rumor, because of course you need to be in great shape no matter what match you're doing. You're doing a 10-man tag, you still need to be in good shape, but it would stand to reason that if Cody and Roman can take on more of the load, there is logic there, right? You could understand it. So if I had to lean on one, I think probably the Royal Rumble. I think it could come in at number 30. I think it would create such a noise. It would create such a buzz. And because everything's been shifted back this year, you then get like a few months of just pure, oh my gosh, what's The Rock going to do here? And of course, he can be gunning for Cody. And if we do work the Roman story in, you could have some great TV. And the momentum that WWE has had for the last year or so, probably longer, 2-3 years, is just going to continue. So I've said it now, and I can still see The Rock. I can see him winning the championship. I just can. Then maybe Cody beats him back for it. But the only reason I don't think that's his 2 matches. And he can come back and do the Royal Rumble. And then he doesn't actually have to be in super shape. He comes in at number 30, right? I mean, he's going to look aesthetically amazing. Of course he is. So I'm going to lean on that one. But The Rock is walking away with a giant prize in 2025. And I imagine 50% of people will be happy by this, and 50% of people will not. And on that note, too, coming out of WrestleMania 41, I think that Roman Reigns may be going away for a while. It's mostly because I don't know what else you can do with him. I think the Bloodline saga is going to wrap up at WrestleMania 41. And unless the Roman Reigns is going to win the WWE title, which I don't think he is, even if he is in the triple threat, I think Cody will get the nod. I can just see him going away. I mean, he did it after this year's WrestleMania. He came back at SummerSlam. So that was 4 months. So maybe another 4-month break, maybe a 6-month break. Maybe there's a movie or something he wants to get involved in. But obviously Roman Reigns being on television, being involved is so important. He is the man. And, you know, he sells merchandise and people will buy tickets for the shows that he's on. And if he is on a pay-per-view, again, he gets massive responses, but he drives interest to the product, which is the whole point. But we're not running out of things to do with him because we have the CM Punk story still to do. But I can't believe we come out of WrestleMania 41 and just throws him straight into that as well. So it's not that wild because Roman Reigns has done it before. But I would just like to revisit this list in a few months and be right about some of them. So I think Roman Reigns takes a long hiatus, or a long-ish hiatus, and then we all miss him. And it's probably the best thing for him to do because it keeps that character interesting and it keeps that character fresh. That could even happen twice. I think maybe post-Royal Rumble, he could sort of have a month off, and then he goes back into WrestleMania season, then we come at WrestleMania season, and maybe we don't see him for SummerSlam. Maybe he's back for SummerSlam just because it's a 2-night event and you want his star power as much as possible. But I do not think Roman Reigns is going to be a constant feature on the show. And this is both bad and good, because on the one hand, he's earned it, but on the other, I do somehow miss him and his wonderful beard. Number 8 is the introduction of a secondary women's championship. I have now decided to pick the Intercontinental belt. Originally, I thought we were going to do both. I thought it was going to be this and the US Championship. But given that the IC title is more synonymous with the WWE, given that they borrowed, used, stole, whatever, from WCW, I mean, they bought World Championship Wrestling, so they can do whatever they want. I think you should go with the Intercontinental title. I think it's time. We have the Women's North American belt down at NXT. And I just think it will feature more women on the show. And they have they have such depth when it comes to their roster now. While it would be better in a way, to use the Becky Lynch theory, why do we need a belt? Why can't we come up with stories? That is not happening as much as it should do. So if we need, a title or a story prop, I hate calling it a prop, it's not a prop, you know what I mean? Something that forces us to do it. I mean, it's been a real up and down. Of course, I would know about that journey with the women's tag team belts. But in 2024, they've been used way better because they they've been there and finally went, they're there, man. Why aren't we doing anything with them? So I really hope we do this. I hope it gets introduced at WrestleMania 41 and we do a multi-person match. We've done that before and it's always worked out well. And I think we give it to Chelsea Green. Doesn't matter if she holds it for a day. Doesn't matter if she holds it for a month, 6 months, whatever. Give her a run. She's earned it. She's super entertaining and it would just make me happy. And at WrestleMania, even though she's meant to be a heel, it's supposed to be about moments. WWE tells me this time and time again. So yeah, basically I'm saying that Chelsea Green becomes the first ever women's Intercontinental Champion. That's why it doesn't matter how long you hold that thing. You're forever gonna be in history. Number 7, some people say this is a home run. I wouldn't necessarily say that because it depends on what his contract is. But wouldn't it be a little bit surprising if Joe Hendry wasn't in the Royal Rumble? So I'm throwing that in here too. This will be a wonderful thing for me as well, because of course I got to work Joe in the latter end of 2023 at the TNA. I think it was Turning Point show. Sometimes I get confused because I'm an idiot. And seeing what he has done in 2024 has been super duper inspiring. And I just think it would be a cool moment all around. It doesn't even matter if he's in the Rumble for 8 seconds. Trust me, no one understands wrestling more than Joe Hendry. Again, look what he has done. But it's the pop, and once again, it's the moment. I'm going to use that word, and then maybe he goes back to NXT, maybe he goes back to TNA, but you can have surprises in there, and I think, you always have to have one. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it. And the noise that he would get would be awesome. It'd be fantastic. I'd like Matt Cardona in there as well. I'd like Ethan Page in there. If we can get the trifecta of Joe Hendry, Matt Cardona, and Ethan Page in the 2025 Royal Rumble, I think we're going to be having an awesome time. They do kind of have a connection, all of them. They all understand the entertainment side very well. And they also get a lot of unnecessary flack thrown at them on the internet because the internet is crazy. But I'll make this a trifecta of people. And if I get best 2 out of 3, I'll be pleased with it. But I can see Ethan Page and Joe Hendry being in it. Matt Cardona feels more like a wish, but I hope I'm wrong. I think 2025 is the time he should go back to WWE. Doesn't have to be a main event. It doesn't have to be going after world championships. But the structure is so much better now. You can be involved in a story in the mid-card, and it feels way more important. So I'm throwing it in there. Maybe it is a little bit of a softball. I don't care, man. I want to get some of them right. Number 6, we shift back to TNA, and we'll focus over onto the TNA-NXT relationship. I think Jordynne Grace will arrive properly. Maybe she has a surprise spot in the Women's Royal Rumble too, but while she doesn't need to be in NXT, I think allowing her to run through NXT and be the champion for a while would be awesome. It would be ace. It depends what we're going to do with the likes of Julia and Stephanie Vaquer and everyone like that. And Roxanne Perez may get called up, which would be a great opponent for her, as we know. And they could do a feud. But I don't know. Like, again, she doesn't need to be there. Jordynne Grace is a premier worker. She could turn up on SmackDown and Raw, be totally fine. But when I think about it, just this idea, because there's so many women that are probably going to get called up, and there's only so many places you can sort of fit in, I think Jordynne Grace has a better chance if she totally establishes herself to the WWE universe. That's what I was about to say. Stupid marketing terms. And then she gets a call up. That doesn't work for everybody. Like, I think it was better for the Motor City Machine Guns just to come in to WWE. I could be totally wrong. But maybe that's my crazy prediction. Rather than just turn up on a Raw or SmackDown or in the Royal Rumble, which again, she certainly could be, allow her to be a dominant champion. Allow her to be the Oscar, whenever that was, sort of 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago. So that when she does get called up, she's still the champ. And she has to give up her belt and she's undefeated. That's how highly I think of Jordynne Grace. I think she's absolutely brilliant. I think she's only like 27 years old. So we don't need to rush if we don't want to. It can only be 6 months. It could only be a year, which is not that long in pro wrestling. And then, yeah, tell everyone, oh my gosh, this person is undefeated. Because then I think you could put on a Raw and SmackDown, maybe leading into a WrestleMania 42, and she wins there as well. I want a good old undefeated streak. When we called up Asuka, everyone was so worried, oh, how are we going to beat her? So we thought of ways to beat her. Nah, man, use it. Don't have it as a crutch. Use it as a good thing. And then whoever does beat her, they're going to be awesome too. Both these things work, so just do it. Number 5 kind of actually contradicts a different video I did the other day, but these are wild predictions, man. And look up the term wild. I think we're going to get John Cena, or we could do, right? We could get John Cena versus Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania 41. John Cena loses. That's right. John Cena is sad because he wanted to become the 17-time world champion. But then we go maybe all the way through to December or a very, very long amount of time. And just as John Cena can see the end of his career, it's going to be horrible and sad and make me feel like an old man. He does challenge Gunther and he wins. Now, I get it. Wrestlers these days are like, man, good for them. I get it. I want to go out on my back and put someone over. John Cena doesn't need to do that. John Cena been around 20 years, and John Cena should go out in the way that he spent most of his career, which is winning and making children happy. That's essentially the John Cena career. But now those children are adults, so they'll be over the moon. I think that's really damn smart. So yeah, I'd have John Cena retire as the World Heavyweight Champion. And then moving into 2026, you can have a big tournament or whatever you want to do. I don't know. But I just think that'd be a great story. Seeing at WrestleMania 41, seeing John Cena get murdered by Gunther and then coming back in December, and the December pay-per-view can be like Revolution, what we did in AEW for Sting. You can call it John Cena's Final Stand. You can call it the Cena Wiener. You can call it John's John. I don't care, man. But you can create up an event just for him, which WWE would do because they sell him as the greatest of all time, which is quite the accolade, given how many people have gone through WWE. He finally beats Gunther. We get that feel-good moment. We feel warm and fuzzy in our tum-tums, and we move on from there. I'm quite confident about this one. I've still put it at number 5. These aren't like a list of things that I think are going to happen from 10 to 1. I just believe in it. Number 4, 2, I don't know where this fits in either, but I do not believe that we get through 2025. Now, I've said this. I don't know how this is going to happen. Like my predictions are merging together and they are contradicting each other. But I do think CM Punk at some point is going to be the WWE champion. He could still beat Gunther and Gunther then beats him. Like the fact that John Cena has that loss means it doesn't matter what happens to that title. It's not about the title, but it is for Cena because he wants number 17. But it's the fact that he walked into WrestleMania and got totally murked. But I mean, so difficult. I just think CM Punk is in that kind of region now where does he go after Drew McIntyre stuff? Like if he takes on Seth Rollins, a title probably going to be involved. If he does go after Gunther, which he's teased, a title is probably going to be involved. Even if he jump brands and feud with Cody, a title's probably going to be involved. Same with Roman Reigns, as we've mentioned. So, well, actually, Roman Reigns don't need it because Paul Heyman would be the championship, which is the weirdest thing that I've ever said. But yeah, I think that CM Punk somehow will be a champion within the next 12 months. I can't really give you more. I can't really expand on it. This is more of a feeling. But if you disagree again, make sure you get in the comments below. But when I was writing this, I do believe it. I do believe it. It's a blind faith. Total belief in it. And you know what? We'll know at the end of December 2025, but I've said it now, there's no going back. Number 3 is that I think Jacob Fatu will be a champion as well, and I think he'll be the Intercontinental Champion. You can make him the US champion as well, but I think when the whole Netflix wiggly jiggly happens, he'll probably move over to Raw because WWE does see him as a star and they're going to want to showcase him as much as possible. Unless we start switching championships around, that is the home of the IC Championship, and I think Jacob Fatu has to be a mid-card champion, which I do not say disparagingly at all, just matter-of-factly in 2025, because I think when we move on to 2026, if we have done right by him, he should be good to go in the main event scene as well and should probably have a run as a world champion. He can beat Bron Breakker, nothing wrong with that. Those two should be a forever feud. They should go at it forever because I think it would be brilliant. Sheamus could even get involved in that as well. I shouldn't have said that. I've ruined number 2. I just tie it in. Number 2 is Sheamus will also win the Intercontinental title. He has to finish his story. So Jacob Fatu can start his story with the Intercontinental title and Sheamus can finish his because he's never won it. And we don't know how many years Sheamus has got left. I mean, he came back from a serious injury this year and somehow got even better because Sheamus is the man. But these are 2 things that I will do. We don't need to have long title reigns for the IC or US belts after what we did with Gunther. And LA Knight held it for a long old time as well. I think we can have a little bit more fun with them, for lack of a better term. And these are 2 people that can have reigns. They could even clash, right? One could beat the other one for the other, and Bron Breakker can be involved before all of them, sadly not Sheamus, then get elevated to the next level. Not that I don't think Sheamus couldn't have one final run at the top. He's just been there, and I think it's a new generation's turn. But yes, 3 and 2 absolutely tie into the IC title. I think both of them will be wonderful moments. Even if Jacob Fatu is pitched as a heel, we all love him anyway. We saw the reaction he got when he looked at Bron Breakker, and Sheamus finally is getting his due. Remember that Saudi Arabia show where everybody loved him? We should all be reacting to like Sheamus because he's a flipping best. And number 1 goes back to the Royal Rumble or at any point in 2025. Maybe it's down in NXT. Maybe it's not the Royal Rumble because we have too many places. Not too many people and not enough places. Whatever. I don't care, man. But I think Ricky Starks will most certainly turn up in the WWE. Now, of course, people get so mad. Oh, he shouldn't be in NXT. I don't care where he goes. NXT is great. That's so disparaging to NXT. NXT is a brilliant television show. And in many ways, if you do it right, it has given people a bunch of momentum. Ethan Page being one of them. So Ricky Starks can go in there and be the champion. He could feud with Trick Williams. That would be awesome. And then he can jump up whenever WWE think there's a slot for him on Raw or SmackDown. What you do not want is people to be lost in the shuffle, although actually as an extra prediction, which would be number 11, I would also guess that in 2025 Raw will be 3 hours and SmackDown will be 3 hours. So we'll have loads more time for the talent, which is a good thing. I just think 6 hours is way too much for 2 television programs. But by hook or by crook or by one way or the other, Ricky Starks will be on WWE television, and it's going to feel like a massive deal. And I would imagine if it does go well, by the time we get to 2026, he is probably in the main event world title scene as well, and that's going to melt the internet down. That's fine for me, because it's good for content. Now, like I say, please do get in the comments below and let me know your wild predictions. You only get one, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to correlate all of these and I'll make another video. And if there is one that is totally crazy and you're correct, I'll have to come up with some kind of a prize. If you enter 2, you do not get to be in this competition, and I will be looking at a couple of weeks to give you plenty of time to throw yours in there. So drop one comment below. Also, please do like the video, share the video, and subscribe. Click the video on the screen, which is me talking about wrestling. Obviously, what else would it be? Otherwise, and subscribe too. Do that, and notification bell. Otherwise, it is grillermind.com/Simon, because I get 10% off the brand new Simon Miller Fitness channel. Launches in January 25. That is not a prediction. It is a spoiler. Again, we've talked about it on other videos, so I won't talk about it here. Otherwise, it's a Go Fitness. Sign up the code Simon20. Patreon.com/Simon316. ProWrestlingTees.com/Simon Miller. Simon316 on all social media. Simon J. Miller on TikTok. Simon Miller on Cameo. If you want a personalized message, I always enjoy them, especially birthdays. Birthdays are just fun, but I appreciate you stopping by, my friends, and talk to you soon.